Last time you were here, you talked about fear and love, and how fear is ultimately the reason we don't make those choices. Fear of getting arrested, losing our business, dying from COVID-19. I mean, that's what's been weaponized against us. How can people confront their own fears? Because that's what's stopping people a lot of times from saying no to this sometimes ridiculous things that have been almost exposed in the last few months.
Yeah, but what is it a fear of? You know what I think it comes down to in the end? I think it's fear of death. I think that comes from everything. This is why this cult has worked, not least through mainstream science, to give us the impression that death is the end. It's lights out. There is no continuation. And the alternative we've been given to that is that at death we're going to be judged by some judgmental frickin' God. We're going to sit on his left hand or right hand or whatever bloody hand it is, or we're going to be stoking the fires of hell, right? So what death has become is a massive reason to fear. And the fear of death is an expression of fear of the unknown. And fear of the unknown is massive fear that people have. People limit themselves because they fear the unknown. That's why so many people want next week to be like this week, because it's their sense of security that nothing changes. So, again, letting go of the fear of death is all part of this reevaluation of self-identity. See, I don't fear any of these people. I don't fear, I mean, people say, oh, yeah, well, what do they think they'll do to you? I don't fear them. I don't fear them. I don't fear the consequences of challenging them. Why? Because I self-identify as being an expression of infinite awareness, an eternal, indestructible, unique expression of infinite awareness. And at some point, I'm going to leave this body, and I'm going to explore forever, as I have done since in all my eternity, like everyone else. So there's no consequence relating to death that will limit me in what I do. And I can tell you from a personal point of view, that's an extraordinary freedom. Because from that, everything else comes. I'm an infinite expression of consciousness, having an endless, eternal series of experiences. So whatever experience I'm having now, someone ridiculing me or someone doing whatever, someone banning me from Facebook, ooh, in the great eternity of things, I don't think that's very important, do you? No. There'll be another experience along in a minute. It's just a experience I'm having in the moment. There'll be another one coming. And so you don't become enslaved by fear of consequences, because a consequence is just another experience, which will lead to another one and another one and another one. And because I self-identify with being consciousness and not the human experience I'm having, which is just the human experience, consequences just are not the same as if when you are identifying totally with the body and your human self, if you like, with all its sense of limitation and fears and what have you. You basically step back from it. And so what you do is you do what you believe to be right. And you don't well, if I do what I believe to be right, what's the consequences? That doesn't add to the equation. And what's been my experience, that if you stop fearing the consequences and just do what you believe to be right, the consequences you feared don't happen, right? They don't happen. It's this, a whole foundation of it is fear of death, which comes from not self-identifying with being an eternal flow of consciousness, which means death is just a release from the body. It's not the end. It's just the start of another experience. You just look at the life of the human world in a completely different way. So I'll challenge these people in every way I believe is effective, and I'll never worry about what they're going to do or whatever. And in the same way, I'm not limited by fear of what other people think. I mean, you know, at some other point in the great flow of experiencing forever, am I going to be going, oh, God, it was terrible what names they called me when I was in that body called David Icke? Just an experience. And so when you lose the fear of what other people think, because what you say is they have a right to think what they like, but so do I, then you're not limited by, if I say this, if I do this, what will people say? What will they say on social media? I don't give a shit. And it's an incredible freedom. And it frees you to speak your truth, whatever your truth is. See, I've said things over the years and written things that appear to be incredibly far out at the time. And I was laughed at and I was ridiculed. All right. Write something else now. And now, so many of them are turning out to be actually, he were a bit closer to the truth than we thought, wasn't he? But if I'd have feared what other people thought and therefore censored myself, not said them, well, that's a bit far out, what will people say? Then people wouldn't be saying now, well, you know, he said that and it's happening. So in so many ways, the greatest fears that people have are fear of death and fear of what other people think. And I can tell you, stick with it, because they'll think something else tomorrow. And if you are censoring yourself by what you fear they will think today, they won't be thinking something else about you tomorrow, because you wouldn't have said here what is shown to be credible there. Speak your truth. If people around you cannot respect your right to speak your truth, then what are they doing around you? Go and find another circle of people who will respect your right to be you. Don't try to persuade people and win them round when they just don't want to know. Just go and find some people that you can talk to that will respect you. Because what are you doing with people who don't have the respect for your right to your unique opinion? What are you doing with them? Go and find some other people. There's lots now, especially now. I mean, when I started out, there was very few, but now there's vast numbers of people that you can interact with that get where you're coming from, because they're coming from the same direction. Go and find them. You know, don't let people tell you what to say. Don't let people tell you what to think. Don't let people tell you what to do. You decide if you think that's valid, and if you think it is, then say it, do it, write it. But don't do it just because someone else tells you. That's how we got into this mess. It ain't the way we're going to get out of it.